Let's go to Tom Murphy, talk a variety of things. By the way, Tom, do you think I can get away with wearing a cowboy hat, or am I too city for that?
You can do it. The way your hair comes out from underneath, you'd be fine. You'd be cool, modern cowboy.
I like it. That's the support I can always count on from Tom Murphy. All right, Tom, we've got basketball, we've got baseball topics for you this morning, but we'll start with the football one. This is from the Austin American-Statesman, and I don't know if Brian Davis was the one that broke this news or who it was down there, but it looks like, according to them, that Texas and Oklahoma are projected to join the league in 2024 instead of 2025. We keep hearing reports here and there about various things. When do you think they actually join? Are they going to join the league a year earlier, and what effect does that have on Arkansas?
Yeah, I got a take on that, but I have to tell you, y'all were talking about Lake Washita, and while we're doing that, there's this kayaker camper guy who goes around and just brings all of his camping gear on his kayak, and he did that on Lake Washita. I don't know when, but my daughter was telling me they watched it, and Lake Washita was considered like, this guy's like, this might be the best lake in the country. And it was where we were going at the very latest as a family just a few years ago. And, yeah, I've been to Shangri-La, eaten there, had the pies there, great place, and I'm a big Lake Washita fan. So, if Austin American-Statesman is reporting that, I have a feeling they have good sources who maybe – it may not be, like, definite, but, like, things are trending in that direction because it looks like they want to go ahead and add those other members. Who is it, like Cincinnati and Houston? I'm not all sure who all, BYU, who might be joining the league. And if you do that, then you can set up your two divisions or whatever the Big 12 plans to do. And then the buyout would be, negotiated down, or it would be contractually lesser and potentially negotiated down to very reasonable and possibly even penalty-free. I don't know all this. I'm just speculating. And but the thing is, it needs to get in place where all conferences involved can work on their scheduling. And so I have a feeling by SEC Media Days, we're going to hear a lot more on this topic.
All right, let's switch it up to baseball, and then we'll get into some basketball too, Tom. Zach Gregory announced yesterday via Instagram he is entering the transfer portal. You got to replace 7 of 8 position guys on next year's team. Your thoughts on Gregory's decision and just kind of the changing and the turnover of this roster for next year?
It's pretty wild. Every year when we talk to Dave Van Horn and about roster management, and even since the portal opened, he's talked about how difficult it is. But I can't imagine a more complex year for them. I mean, they've got their signees. They've got JUCO folks. They got a bunch of freshmen. And Razorback fans are going to have to keep their roster close early next year to match numbers to faces and performances and stuff. Gregory's a little bit of a surprise. The batting average tailed off. There were points midway through the year where I feel like he was still hitting in the 290s. And with his on-base percentage, which was leading the team, you can live with that if you're not a high percentage guy. But the on bases and the walks tailed off, and in the postseason, he had a ton of strikeouts. And maybe he got the sense that Jace Borfin would be the preferred left fielder. I really don't know. Some writing on the wall that Arkansas is going after this other outfield talent, and maybe it would be best if he looked for another destination. I don't know because he certainly got a ton of chances to play this year. But this has been a remarkable roster turnover for them. You can see the pieces of a pitching staff, but to envision like where everybody's going to be outside of Peyton Stovall, Kendall Diggs, and some pitchers, they got a long way to go to finish this roster. That's for sure.
I don't hate Mike Bianco, Tom. He hasn't said or done anything against me personally or, to my knowledge, Arkansas. But I hate that he's Team USA coach. And for Hagen Smith and Brady Tiger, they're going out there to take their crack. I think it's a 28-man roster. Maybe it's 30, whatever it is. And they're one of like 56 to 60 guys. Your thoughts on the Ole Miss coach just won a national championship. Now with the opportunity to coach Team USA and I mean, with the transfer portal, maybe some recruiting that he could be doing at some point, and just kind of that visual of, hey, Ole Miss head coach coaching Team USA baseball. That's good for branding in Oxford, I would think.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, the fact that they just won the title is not lost on, he's hot right now. And I got to say, I talked to some folks in Omaha who felt like if they didn't make the NCAA tournament, then that was the end of the Mike Bianco regime at Ole Miss. Like, it was just going to happen because they had come, they had come up short of Omaha so many years where they were a big favorite. I'll never forget. It was at Tennessee Tech or somebody upset them in Oxford, and it was the year that left-handed pitcher that was so good. His name started with an R. Was drafted like while they were playing, and it was just you felt it for the kid. He's in the dugout, just excited, and because he just got drafted very high, and they're playing a game, and so thankfully the NCAA did away with that, travesty. But yeah, I think he'd have been gone, and instead now he might have a lifetime contract. And if you keep up with the social media part of college athletics, the fan bases go at each other, and I think the Ole Miss and Arkansas fan bases have had their disputes and what have you. But when it comes to the teams, I thought the Ole Miss players conducted themselves like gentlemen and were very well spoken, and you couldn't help but feel good for a guy like Tim Elko to win it. You know that DVH has great respect for their veteran hitters like Graham and Elko and Bench and these other guys. And Mike Bianco was just a gracious guy there. I mean, after the loss to Arkansas, he wasn't snippy. And they went into the final series with their ace, who could only be available on Game 3, DeLucia, on 3 days rest. And they still won it. And so they had the right formula, and I was reading some stuff about them. The players never stopped believing in themselves, even when they were at the very lowest point. And I was standing right there when the catcher said in Omaha, this is the day before they played Arkansas for the first time, he said, we were at an all-time low. But they came to Fayetteville and won Game 1 behind DeLucia, ended up losing the series, but they were tight games. And from that point forward, they just continued to get better and better, eked their way into the field. And so this is the second year in a row a team didn't win any games in Hoover and ended up winning the national championship. So I say all that to say that I think Mike Bianco respects the game. I think for a veteran of, the dean of SEC coaches, I'm happy for him. But Dave Van Horn, it's the same deal. He respects the game. I think the rest of the coaching fraternity respects him, and it'd be really neat to see Dave kind of get one of those, get a career validator by winning the CWS 1 year. And a year like this, when it had been slightly unexpected based on the end of the season, would have been neat, much like Bianco, but they're just going to have to shoot for it for another year.
We're talking with Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports this morning. Tom, I don't know what's going on in Baton Rouge with that baseball program, but they have plucked away some dudes out of the portal, and they plucked away another guy who coaches or was coaching for the Twins, and Wes Johnson, who we know what he was able to do here. Dude, what's going on in Baton Rouge? They just give Jay Johnson a blank check, say, go get some guys. I mean, this offseason for the Tigers has been insane.
It has been, and it needed to be for their sake, because they looked like they were 6th of 7 teams in the SEC West this year, based on full season. They can recruit to tradition. Certainly, the Alex Box, the new one, is an outstanding facility. Jay Johnson's a good coach, and I was reading up on Wes Johnson, and it came as a little bit of shocker to the organization because I think they're leading their division, but maybe it felt like Wes can relate to college kids better, or for family purposes wanted to get back down to the South instead of Minnesota. I really don't know, but there's just no rest in the SEC West. I mean, you got to be coming hard. And, Alabama they finished well. They beat Arkansas. They knocked Arkansas from a number 1 to maybe a number 2, but they were basically the last team in the West. That's how tough it is. And LSU's superb offseason only speaks to that the West is going to be just as tough. The last 2 NCAA champions, Arkansas, which has been to the College World Series 3 of the last 4 years, has been played, and Auburn was there this year. It's very, very difficult.
Let's talk some basketball with you. Arkansas got its conference schedule yesterday. Kentucky coming to Bud Walton, and you're going to Rupp for the first time since 2014. Only the second time that's ever happened since you joined the SEC. Tom, I like their schedule, man, specifically at Kentucky. You got to go to Auburn and Tennessee without them coming back, but what did you think of the release yesterday?
Yeah, it's a tough one because, Alabama's been stout the last few years. They got them twice. Kentucky's going to be a contender. And then, the standard A&M, LSU, and Missouri. It's just like the other sports. Everybody's putting money into it. Everybody's if you don't win in 3 or 4 years, you get replaced. Like Kunzo at Missouri. I thought he might get another year, but no. So we know that Eric Musselman's history and track record speak to no matter what roster management he's got to do, no matter how they start in league play, they're going to be a viable contender. And so I don't see that changing, but the difficulty level with the twofers against Kentucky and Alabama goes up a little bit. But, hey, man, it's just all part of being the best conference, no question.
Other basketball news, we know Jalen Williams drafted 34th overall by the Oklahoma City Thunders. J.D. Note is going to play with the Golden State Warriors and his old teammate, Moses Moody, in the Summer League. They play, how about this? Note and Moses, they play Mason Jones this Sunday. Lakers against the Warriors. And it's the, I think, Santa Clara Warriors against the Lost Bay Lakers or whatever it is. But
yeah,
how about a couple Arkansas guys? And then you got Justin Smith and Isaiah Joe taking on Jalen Williams, I think, next Thursday. I think Hutch said that and Hogbeat. But how about that, Tom? You got a little Arkansas and Arkansas matchups early on in Summer League.
It's pretty dang cool. And I like it that not only are they getting drafted players, first-rounders, and you got guys like Portis, still in the league, and early second-round pick this year in Jalen Williams. But if they continue to recruit and perform at this level, it's like Kentucky basketball or Alabama football. There's hardly a game on an NFL weekend where there's not 2 Alabama guys going at each other. Or in the NBA, with Calipari's track record, that 2 Kentucky dudes aren't going at each other on a given night in the NBA. And I don't know if Arkansas can reach that level, but I think we're just going to see more and more guys dotted around NBA rosters, and I think it's really neat that Arkansas is such a magnet right now. And you want to talk about a glory year in basketball? How about a glory time in your sports department with Hunter Yurchek being in AD of the year and things just looking up? If the softball team could have burst their way through to the College World Series, I mean, this would have been just a slam dunk, maybe even better than the year before when they won 10 SEC championships. It's a phenomenal run that this athletic department is on.
Tom, we'll leave it there. Appreciate your time as always. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. No show for obvious reasons on Monday, so we'll talk to you next Thursday.
That sounds great. Talk to y'all then. Bye.
All right. Good stuff from our guy, Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports. Tom Murphy, not Tom
Partners
Murphy.
at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's Wimbledon Finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to get the bonus and get into the action. Bet online, where the game starts.